Bob's been so instrumental in our school's development, and this was a large animal veterinary clinic when we got it. And we had many, many, many people come and give hours of volunteer labor to transform examination rooms for dogs and cats and horses and transform them into classrooms for children. In fact, that area right back there behind the curtain, we call it the Welcome Center. That's also where our students have lunch. When we got this building, this was added on, and that was all horse stalls. And we really seriously thought we should keep one of the horse stalls just in case we had an unruly child along the way. But I said, no, we're going to trust they'll all be great. So we got rid of all the horse stalls. New Covenant Christian Academy, if you're not familiar, is a classical Christian school. We are part of a growing movement of schools that are returning to age-old educational practices that have been effective for generations. In addition to the normal subjects like math and science, classical Christian education focuses on language development. So our students also learn Latin, Spanish, and Greek. They also learn the Bible. And every course that is taught, whether it's math, science, history, English, every course is taught with a biblical worldview. Our students are immersed in an environment of truth, goodness, and beauty. And the arts are integral to each child's development. Our fine arts and music programs and offerings are incredible. Our mission at New Covenant and our motto is shining Christ's light, creating hope and inspiring leaders for a new tomorrow. So in that vein, we are not merely teaching students to somehow pass a test, but we are raising up students to be critical thinkers, to know what they believe, why they believe it, and how to articulate those beliefs. In addition to receiving a great education, it's also imperative that our students know their identity in Christ. We want to send out brilliant scholars out of this building, but we also want to send out wonderful followers of Jesus Christ. Now, I'm going to just put it out there. Operating a school, a Christian school, has been incredibly rewarding, but at times it has been really, really hard. We've faced huge obstacles along the way, but God's been with us every step of the way. In 8 years, we've grown from 13 students to almost 90. We have an ultimate goal to have a student number of around 200 students. Plans are in the works for expanding the building to accommodate more students, and we're also working actively to grow our athletic offerings. This year we joined the Michigan High School Athletic Association, and in the years to come we will become incredibly competitive. We're going to build a big old trophy case out in the entryway of the school. I've told all the students, you may have 2 left feet, but you're going to play sports. That's just the way you're going to have to, because you're all we got. So I'm grateful to so many people. Thank you, Susan, for sharing in the vision and your relentless, never wavering support of the school, especially in the difficult days. Thank you, Dr. Bob Turner. We wouldn't be here without you, and that's the truth. Happy retirement, and we'll see if you stay retired. Thank you, Bill Suey and Diane Kemp, who have been on the school board since day one and have helped navigate through all of it. Thank you, Sue Frost Mays, our fearless administrator, whose leadership has been indispensable. You know, this is not just true of this school, but it's true of all of our lives. God knows just who we need and when we need them. Thank you to our amazing, gifted, and deeply committed faculty and staff. Man, you guys look awesome today. Wow. Yeah. A school is only as good as its staff. Thank you to our volunteers, and we have many of them, who come every day and love our students very well. Thank you to the Fresh Wind Christian community. You embrace the vision of the school and would not exist without your ongoing support. Thank you to the members of the larger community that we're in who saw a need for a school like this and have invested in it. Thank you, New Covenant Christian Academy students, for your kindness and your love for each other and your willingness to work hard in the pursuit of in the name of grit and in the pursuit of excellence. Thank you, New Covenant parents. Thank you for entrusting your children to us. Thank you for being part of something that is still very young, but as we continue to work together, you're going to help it grow into everything that God desires for it to be. And thank you for doing the hard work of parenting when it would be so easy to simply go with the flow of the culture. And thank you, God, for blessing us and this school every step of the way. Yeah. So, I'd like to now invite our administrator, Mrs. Sue Frost Mays, to come up and introduce our valedictorian.
As you hear, my name is Sue Frost Mays. This is going to be trouble, I can tell. And I'm honored to be the administrator for New Covenant Christian Academy. One of the many blessings that I receive from being in this position is watching the students grow. I see them when they walk in and then what they do when they leave. Some come to us barely looking up or speaking. They can't make eye contact. And now they're speaking or singing in front of many of you. Many did not know Jesus, but want to be here to learn about him. Many are developing their own thoughts through logic, lessons, and rhetoric. Most importantly, they're becoming amazing citizens of the kingdom. Jordan Turner is one of those students. When I first met Jordan, he was quite unsure of the world around him. He was somewhat passive and listened more to what others had to say. I was very fortunate to have talks with Jordan over the past 4 years, each one revealing more of who Jordan was and who he was becoming. As a young man, he has witnessed many storms, some personal, some of friends leaving, many disappointments, and many opportunities. It is what he has done with these situations that's made him who he is today. A lot comes at us, but it's what we do with it that matters. He has discovered who he is and whose he is. He knows where he stands, and he had to do the work to be obedient to find his place. And he has done that work. I am honored to have been in this place to participate in his growth and this process. Jordan is not only our only graduate this year, but he's our first, and he's also earned the academic achievement of valedictorian. Not because he's the only one graduating, but because he earned the requirements. There would not be a valedictorian today if they had not earned the requirements. I want to make sure that you understand that. He did the job. So I am honored and pleased to acknowledge Jordan Jeffrey Turner as our NCCA valedictorian for 2023.
Oh, wow. What a moment. Wow, did not expect this moment to happen. I can remember, wow, the beginning of my freshman year. That was wild, and now I'm here. Time flies by. I told myself I probably wouldn't cry on this day, but as we went through the song, as you can tell in the inflection of my voice, I'm probably going to cry through this. And public speaking is not an easy thing for me, but I know that it's what God has called me to do, in whatever form that is. And so if I speak too loud or speak too fast, I want to play this game with everyone because I want to have everyone participate in this moment with me. So if I go too fast, tell me, slow down. And I want you guys to yell that at me because I need that help. So I'll jump in this. So everyone who knows me here knows that I'm the grandson of Bob Turner, who was one of the people involved in helping start the church and the school. I'm also the son of Mark and Carrie Turner. My dad has been the high school teacher for the last 4 years, but he's also been my teacher for my whole life. And this moment's super weird because when I was in diapers, I'd be going to work with him. And then when we moved downstate, I was going to school with him as he was getting his college degree. And then we moved back up here, and I started going to school and work with him. So never left his side one moment at a time. There was never a dull moment. And my mom is the supervisor at the Leland Hall Benzie Health Department. From a young age, my parents raised me to be strong and express myself in everything that I do. Luckily, I inherited my mother's bullheaded stubbornness. Thank you, Mom. Which has been a blessing, though it has also gotten me in trouble at times too. I'm thankful that God has given me the parents and the family that I have, because I would not be standing up here today in front of you all without the part that they played in getting me here to this point. This day is very surreal to me because I can remember thinking about, like I've said at the beginning of this, 4 years ago during my freshman year, wondering what kind of person I would be and imagining all the journeys that God would take me along the way. I can honestly say that I am glad and thankful for these last 4 years of my life since I moved back up here. Actually, sorry, 5 years, because I've been here 5. Throughout everything that I've experienced, both the good and the bad, the happy and the heartbreaking moments that I had to go through to get me to where I am today. I know that God has been by my side every step of the way, and He has never left me. He was always by my side. Everything that He led me through had a purpose. My struggles have made me stronger and have made me better. Better prepared me for what He has next for me. So often we all go to fear and panic instead of calling out to the one who knows exactly how it was all meant to play out. You know, the reason that God doesn't show us what He has in store for our lives is not because He doesn't want to, or because it's scary or anything. It's because what He has in store for our lives is so great and marvelous that it would be too much for us to understand and comprehend, and we wouldn't be able to appreciate it all at once. And honestly, I'm glad that He doesn't tell us everything up front, because this would not be all the joy and nervousness that I'm experiencing right now in this moment. But I'm doing it because all of you guys are here, and I'm thankful for it. And some of you may know this, but a very defining moment in my life was on. On February 13th, 2017, it was the day that my dad had been working on his car in the garage. And one of the jacks that was holding the car up in the air slipped out from underneath it, and the car pivoted to one side. It came crashing down on top of him, and he ended up being in the hospital for 3 weeks with 21 fractures. But he ended up making it through it all. And if you were here at the 9 and 10 o'clock service, I shared more of that story. But that event is very important in my walk in Christ, with Christ, because that life-changing event is kind of the spot where my relationship with God started to be more real. I would say that my eyes were opened, and I started to understand what God was doing in my life and in the lives of people around me too. And in the last 5 years that I've been at NCCA, it seems as though there has always been some major thing that went on in my life, whether that was pain, suffering, heartbreak, friends that I loved and care about that left and went on in my life. But as I said already, God was with me and protecting me through it all. If you know me, you know that I care very deeply, maybe too much at times, about my friends and family. I want to say thank you To all my friends, Faith, Allie, Kaylee, Sam, Ava, you all are so very much. I love you all so much. And I have that in all caps right now. I wrote that prompt. I am also so thankful to have each and every one of you in my life. And it wouldn't be the same without y'all in it. I love this family that we created together at NCCA. Levi and Seth, thank you for being my adopted brothers. I didn't know that I needed these past 2 years. And in a time in my life when I was so broken and I needed people to raise me up. God, I know that God sent you to NCCA into my life. You have both helped me to become more of the person that God is teaching me to be, and God likes and very sarcastic person, if you know me, at times, because I get that trait from my dad, because I spent all my time with him. Love you, Dad. I digress. And God likes to mess with me at times, so he decided to send me 2 more brothers that I love very much. Ha 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 ha. Oh my God. And this one might be hard. And just Sue, the person that has been my rock and basically my second mother these last 4 years. I know I can't ever repay the debt that I owe you. And I know that you would tell me right now that I don't need to, or that I don't owe you anything, because that's the person that you are. But thank you for being in my life. For the encouragement, your time, your grace, your support, your leadership, your character, and most of all, your loving heart. I would not be the student, the son, and the man I am today without you being a part of my life. So thank you for all that you have done in my life. I love you so much. Thank you. I also want to mention, I have a gift for the school on the way. I was blessed to have the help from Mr. Suey to help me make it. And finally, to Pastor Chuck and Susan, thank you for listening to the Lord's leading and having the vision to start NCCA. It has given me a strong foundation academically and spiritually, and I would not be the man of God that I am today. So thank you all.
His face shine upon you, be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace.
his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, in your family, in your children, in their children, in their children. May his presence go before you and behind you and beside you, all around you and within you. He is with you, he is with you in the morning, in the evening, in your coming, in your going, in your weeping, in rejoicing. He is for you, he is for you. Amen. 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 The Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace.
May his favor
May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, in your family, in your children, in their children, in their children.
Again,
May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, in your family, in your children, in their children, in their children.
Again, may his favor
Be upon you and 1,000 generations, in your family, in your children, in their children, in their children.
May his presence
May his presence go before you and behind you and beside you, all around you and within you. He is with you, he is with you in the morning, in the evening, in your coming, in your going, in your weeping, in rejoicing. He is for you, he is for you. Amen. 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 Amen.
the
Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace.
Good job, Jordan. Well done. Great address. Today's commencement address is being delivered by State Representative Kurt Vanderwall. Representative Kurt Vanderwall was elected to the Michigan House of Representatives in November 2022 for his second term. He represents the 102nd District, which includes parts of Oceana, Manistee, Mason, and Muskegon counties. Representative Vanderwall serves as a Republican Vice Chair on the Health Policy and Higher Education Committees. He also serves as a member on the Agricultural Committee. Representative Vanderwall completed courses at Grand Rapids Junior College before moving on into the workforce. Kurt Vanderwall was first elected to the Michigan House of Representatives in November of 2016. He represented the 101st District before being elected to the Michigan Senate and representing 12 counties across northern Michigan from 2018 to 2022. Before being elected to the Michigan House, Vanderwall served as commissioner and chairman of the Mason County Board of Commissioners. He also served on the West Michigan Fair Association for 6 years, was district chair for the MSU Extension, and served on boards for the United Way of Mason County. Kurt is currently chair of the Women's Jericho House Board. Kurt is owner of the Turf Care Mole Man of Ludington. Before that, he worked at Eberhard Foods and Prevost Family Market for much of his adult life. Also served on the board of Old Kent Bank, as well as the Mason County Growth Alliance Board, Northern Michigan Counties Association, and the Mason County Housing Board. Kurt and his wife, Diane, have been married for 39 years and have 3 children and 2 grandchildren. They are involved and actually helped start Covenant Christian School in Ludington, Michigan, and attend Mason County Reformed Church, where Kurt has served as a deacon. So I met Representative Vanderwall several years ago when our daughter Katie stuck her toe in the local politics. She came home for an event and said, Dad, you've got to meet this guy, Kurt Vanderwall. You're going to love him. He was running for his first term as state rep at the time. She said, I think you guys could be great friends. So a few weeks later, Susan and I ended up at an event, ended up really being seated right next to Kurt and Diane. And we became instant friends. And not only did Susan and I become great friends and continue to be great friends with Kurt and Diane, but they have been supporters of this church. They have been champions of New Covenant Christian Academy, even from afar, supporting it in numerous ways. We've had a group of people called the Kingdom Builders, most of them not from our school or our church, but other men and women, very wise and professional men and women who have gathered together to give their wisdom to what God has been doing here, and Kurt and Diane have been among those Kingdom Builders. But the most important thing I will tell you about the Vanderwalls is this: they love Jesus, and they make him the priority of their lives. It's an honor to have them here today and to have Representative Vanderwall share our very first ever commencement address. Welcome.
Oops. We'll get that right. Well, thank you all for the opportunity to be here. And I said earlier to Pastor Chuck, I said, well, I'm going to try to do my best to not break script. But guess what? I'm breaking it right off the first get-go, because I got to tell you, what an honor to be here. But to see these young people playing the music today, watching the young students come up, it is truly an honor to see their love for Christ. And I tell you, that is what a school is all about. They become a family of their own, but most of all, the school has been the structure that will be their foundation for the rest of their life. And it's just truly a privilege to be here. So with that, I'll get back on script here. And unfortunately, as I age now, I have to wear glasses, so bear with me. But again, thank you for the opportunity to be here. A special thanks to Pastor Chuck and Susan. Of course, Katie, who introduced us to this crazy thing when we were out campaigning. And of course, Colin. But, you know, most of all to the teachers and the administration of this school for the true honor to be here for the very first graduation at New Covenant Christian Academy, and the star of the show, Jordan Turner. Congratulations, young man. You did an awesome job. And between you and Pastor Chuck and Colin starting off, I really don't have a whole lot to say. So thank you. But I did ask Pastor Chuck, I said, hey, how long do you want me to speak? And he says, he gives me a number. And I said, wow, for a politician, that's pretty short. So I might break a little bit there too, but I will keep it on task. But Jordan, let's not forget how you got here. Your family has vested much into you, and I bet they're extremely proud of you today. I see you have a life today, and as you progressed to your life today, you're also going to spread your wings today. You become kind of that next stage, and you got to think about what your future is. And we look forward to being there for your journey of what your decisions are. But before we go on, I am going to take the liberty, because I really felt that it was important to tie in a few things before I talked a little bit about my story. And we're going to read from Genesis 13, and here we go. And if I mess up on a few words here, Pastor, you can coach me afterwards, all right? But so Abraham went up to Egypt in Negev, and his wife and everything he had, and Lot went with him. Abraham had become very wealthy in livestock and in silver and gold. From the Negev, he went to a place until he came to Bethel. So the place between Bethel and Ai, where his tent had been earlier, and where he had first built an altar. Then Abraham called unto the name of the Lord. Now Lot, who was moving about with Abraham, also had flocks and herds and tents. But the land could not support them while they stayed together, for their possessions were great, and they were not able to stay together. And quarreling arose between Abraham's herdsmen and the herdsmen of Lot. The Canaanites, the Perizzites, were also living in the land at the time. So Abraham said to Lot, let's not have any quarreling between you and me, or between our herdsmen and mine. For we are brothers, it is not the whole land before you. Let's part company. If you go to the left, I will go to the right. If you go to the right, I will go to the left. Lot looked up and saw that the whole plain of Jordan was well watered, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt toward Zoar. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So Lot chose for himself the whole plain of the Jordan and set out towards the east. The two men parted company. Abraham lived in the land of Canaan, while Lot lived among the cities of the plain and pitched his tents near Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were wicked and were sinning greatly against the Lord. The Lord said to Abraham, after Lot had parted from him, lift your eyes from where you are and look north and look south, east and to the west. All the land that you see I will give to you and your offspring forever. Will make your offspring like the dust of the earth, so that anyone could count the dust and your offspring could be counted. Go walk through the length and breadth in the land, for I am giving it to you. So as they parted way, we now know that they started. So if we go to 14, verse 12, they also carried off Abraham, Lot, and his possessions, since he was living in Sodom. And really my title of what we're doing is, where are you going to pitch your tent? And we saw that Lot, and you know the rest of the story. He didn't live in Sodom in the beginning, but he enjoyed what Sodom gave. And then he did move to Sodom, and that's where things crumbled. So Jordan, I ask that you remember that. And we're going to go on, and we're just going to talk a little bit about some of the fortunate things that have happened in my life. Briefly, and then we'll kind of come back to that. I've had the blessing of having a very, very supportive family. And if you were to know the Vanderwalls are fiercely competitive. And my wife will, to the point sometimes my wife says, can you not have fun without being so competitive? Well, that's the Vanderwall. And I think what we heard today, and Pastor Chuck said some things, but I will tell you the love of my mom and my dad, my uncle, and his family, were competitive, but they were never afraid to share some of those loving, kind words when you made a mistake, and they would say, "What are you, stupid?" And it brought that back today when I heard the pastor say that. And it's very interesting. But you know what? Their love, they surrounded my father. As coarse sometimes as he could be, and when we let him down, he never ever allowed that to cloud anything in our family. So as I went on, I graduated high school and I went on to Grand Rapids Junior College. And as I was attending that, I was also working in the grocery business for a small company, very small, and it was purchased by Eberhard Foods. And the owner of Eberhard Foods took a liking to me, and his name was L.V. Eberhard. And as he took over the company, he and I got to know each other. And I was very fortunate at this time because there was this really good-looking young lady that was a cashier. And my best friend was dating her at the time, and I said, well, we got to get rid of him. And so we did. And now Diane and I have celebrated 39 years, but as she knows, you are my best friend, and I really do appreciate that. But LV did take me under his wing, and I'm not sure if anybody in this room knew LV Eberhard, but LV was not the easiest guy to work for. And he took a liking to me, and he came up and he says, hey, you show me some characteristics of somebody that I think should be a store director. Would you be willing to join me in my management training program? And I think you have a future. So I went home, chatted with my mom and dad, finished the school year, and when the school year finished, I went into the training program, which really brought me to where I am today. It was really the first entry in the political world, because if you're in a grocery store, you're meeting lots of different people all the time. So anyways, we spent some time. I became an assistant director, store director, and I remember one day when LV called up and he says, you're working today, Vanderwall? And I said, I am. He says, I'm on my way to the store. I do not want you to tell any of my supervision I'm coming. Oh boy, this is not a good sign. I don't know what we're going to expect. He pulled up into the store and he says, today you and I are going to do a complete store reset in the produce department. I didn't run the produce department. I was a grocery guy. But we spent the entire day together, and of course the phone would ring and somebody would come up, it's supervision, they want to talk to you. I said, I'm not leaving this guy right now. But we went through that, and that's really started the next journey. Because after that day, he picked me up with the supervision. We would go down to Owasso, throughout the state, and the next thing he says, Kurt, I want you to run a store in Ludington, Michigan. That was in 1983. A short period of time before my wife and I got married. It was September, and then in April we got married and my wife joined me. From there we spent many years in the grocery business, working our way up to supervision, district supervisor, and then the company fell flat and I went to work for Preville's Family Markets and did the exact same thing and worked my way up the ladder and was a store director and then a district supervisor, and then we got the phone call one day that all of us needed to come into the store headquarters, and they announced that they had sold to Spartan. And I got out of the meeting and I called my wife and I said, you finally succeeded. You prayed me out of a job. Now, it had been a discussion because as a store director of a grocery store, you really did work 7 days a week. You never had a holiday off. You were always on call. And then I was fortunate to, and this is where the Christian school comes in play. The gentleman that I went to work for, his son-in-law left to become into the Start Covenant Christian in Ludington, Michigan. And I actually replaced his son-in-law and then took over the company 3 years later. And there was a lot of faith because we jumped on with no health benefits, really very little pay. My wife and I scrounged, but she was able to still continue to stay home and take care of our children. And as we moved through that, we bought the company. It gave me the opportunity to get into politics. And the world of politics can be very rewarding if you allow it to be rewarding, Representative, but it also can be very disheartening. And I will tell you that I feel very strongly today that my faith is actually growing stronger since I've been in politics than what it was before. Not only because my wife and I spend more time together, and but I have people like Pastor Chuck and his family and 13 other pastors that are on my accountability group. So it really, truly has been so rewarding as I move through that. So Jordan, as you move forward, remember where you pitch your tent. I think we've learned, if you were in Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts, I was in Cadets, you never pitch your tent with the door facing to the hill. You always do it below. But God is the main stake of your tent. God is the main stake. You have many other stakes that are in there. You have the front stake, the back stake, and you have 4 stakes on the side to hold it in. Your family is a big part of that. Your relationships with your friends at school. As I read your little bio, I said, wow, you know, Jordan does a lot of things that I desire to do in life. He loves to play guitar. Well, I can't play guitar, but I always wanted to. I'm a good air guitarist, but pretty good, matter of fact, I think. Spending time with your friends. Friends mean everything. Finding new spots to see the sunset. I mean, it is an amazing thing what you can absorb when you watch that sun crest into the beautiful Lake Michigan. Listening to music, going to youth group, learning more about God. But never, ever forget what the main stake of life is, and that is the main tent. As you graduate today and you get ready to go to North Michigan Community College, I see here that probably the biggest thing is you want to take this opportunity to learn more about God and potentially work for Him in the form of something to make sure that you pass that on. I ask that you don't forget your school. I ask that you remember your students and the students to come, because of the basis, the core, the love of what God has given you will give you the direction in the future for anything you want to do. Now, sure, you're going to have disappointments, but as you pray, you will be given the wisdom and the true direction of where your life should go. So, with that, I have one more piece of scripture I'd like to read. And it's way over here in Timothy. 1 Timothy, verse 12. Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in life, in love, in faith, and in purity. I believe you have all those tools today. We just need to remember them. Mom, Dad, Grandpa, what you've done to invest in your son will reap you the benefits that you will never understand. It is just one of the greatest things. And I just want to say congratulate you for all the love, all the time you've invested in them. For everybody in the audience today, I ask that you take the time to invest in this school, to invest in the Lord's work, because what it will do is deliver us young men like Jordan who will carry this tradition on for years and years to come. Jordan, I'm going to say one thing. Remember, the tent of the Lord is always with you. Don't forget that. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today.
Jordan, we would like to invite you to stand and come forward.
Jordan Jeffrey Turner, on behalf of New Covenants, I have a problem like you do. I get a little emotional. School board and all the staff, we would love to present you with your diploma.
If all of the NCA students could come forward, we're going to sing a prayer to Jordan. Come on forward, you guys.
May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, and until we meet again, may the good Lord hold you in the palm of his hands. We will sing, we will dance, till the earth echoes the heavens. Sing his praise, till we see the other side. 'Cause we belong to the light when the night is at its darkest. Just hold on, for the dawn will soon arrive. Can you feel the winds are changing? There's a new day on the rise, and the atmosphere is breaking as the new world comes to life. We will sing, we will dance, till the earth echoes the heavens. Sing his praise, till we see the other side. Whoa, 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 I've got a feeling that darkness won't last very long. I've got a feeling that darkness won't last very long. I've got a feeling that darkness won't last very long. I've got a feeling that darkness won't last other side. I've got a feeling that darkness won't last very long. I've got a feeling that darkness won't last very